yet, but like, I'm like, this is friend.
Do you want me to go first?
Yes.
All right.
Just whatever you say.
Take it away.
All right. So welcome to the first ever podcast of the siblings that are Thorn and Balser, I guess. Many different forms there. We are a unique, I guess, a unique is the best word I can come up with. Us a unique bunch of individuals with similar life that we shared early on, and then totally different branches now that as we are here later. But I think that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And I think we each have a unique perspective that we can bring to whatever it is that we want to discuss week to week. So my name is Andy. I'm 39. I am currently located in San Diego, California. Long-term transplant, no hometown, and that's just the way that it goes. So who wants to take it away next?
Yeah. Go in age, dude. Go in age.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, second oldest here, Lexi. 33 years old. I had to question that for a second. I'm like 32, 33. 33. I guess I don't really know that we have a hometown either. You know what I mean? Watertown for a while.
Right.
Eva, Finger Lakes, and then Rochester, upstate New York, basically. Yeah, mental health therapist and cat lady, I guess. I don't know. I think that about sums it up.
Way to own it. Way to own it.
All right. So my name is Sarah. I am 32 years old, currently in Geneva, New York, and I'm an actual real cat lady. I am currently unemployed because of COVID, but I am a casino accounting auditor at Del Lago. So yeah. Anyway.
Nice.
and a hobby gardener.
Hobby gardener.
Yeah.
Actually, the tomatoes that Miss Ham planted, we got our first one today.
Really?
Well fertilized.
Yeah. We gave her some tomatoes, some like organic, nice tomatoes from like Wegmans a couple months ago, and they just started like coming up after I gave her the tomatoes. They came up in her little potty spot.
That's awesome.
Anyway, yeah, my intro sucks. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, see, it's perfect.
I'll work on that.
I'm going to add this one. Listen, I'm going to add it right now, and you guys are going to laugh as soon as I tell you the next topic. It's added to the list already, because we're going to keep it running. It's the self-sorry. We say sorry a lot.
Oh, God.
Like,
so sorry all the time.
See? We are like partial Canadian, I'm telling you. We say sorry so much.
We lived so close to the border for so long. We were affected.
It truly was. We would seep down from the north as the great, Toronto invader or Montreal or whatever. So yeah, okay. So today, one of the topics that we brought up was self-care. More to be specific, that was Lexi's great topic idea, which I truly love, especially in the time that we're in right now, as we are. Okay, so we are September 2nd. I've been home now since March 17th, so we are almost 6 months in to being home at this point, for me anyway. Like, still working from home.
No, I left work the same day.
Okay.
St. Patty's Day was my last day working,
so like mid-March. Lex, how long have you been telehealthing?
So we held out for like a week, but I think maybe the 26th of March was first telehealthing day for me.
Okay. Now, are you slowly transitioning back in, or are you still doing mostly telehealth?
No, absolutely not. So we're actually forming it up to like make it. So I think I mentioned this before, but as of September 4th, New York State is no longer requiring insurance companies to pay for phone visits. Mm-hmm. So at this point, clients...
They no longer pay for that?
No, so they weren't even paying it with it for the beginning of the pandemic. The hospital system had to eat that cost, right? So like we couldn't just drop our clients, so we had to provide services over the phone, and insurance companies weren't paying for it. They caught up, I think, within a few weeks or a month or so. We were doing a lot over the phone, some over video. We've been slowly transitioning to all video. So, and they're like, you know what, it's been long enough. We're not paying for phone anymore. You really need to be seeing these people. So it's all video. And if they don't have access to it at home, they have to come into the clinic to use our video stuff.
So like they come into the clinic to basically video you who's still at home at this point.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I mean,
Wait, is that...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, so they're going to be paying for that even though you're long distance because they're still coming into the clinic, or?
Wow.
It's a different rate, I think, like if I'm on site or if they're on site versus if we're both at home for some reason. I don't really know the specifics of it, but
okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's one of the big things, though, especially during this, has been mental health, and all of the aspects of it. I mean, where you're stuck with yourself basically for 6 months now. If you don't know how to deal with yourself, like you're pretty well screwed at this point, I would assume.
Deal with yourself or those that are with you.
Right, and that brings up the idea of the self-care that I was looking at it. Let me see. I think it was. I was trying to look it up in like Wikipedia or like Webster's, and say like the definition of it is like it's such a weird definition. You could probably explain it better, Lexi. Would you like to try?
Well, so I literally just
where's the DSM at?
I literally just Googled it, and the first definition that comes up is from Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
It says the practice of taking action to preserve or improve one's own health, which I thought was interesting. You know what I mean? You're not just caring for yourself, you're also preserving and improving.
Right.
So I thought the word preserve stuck out most to me.
Okay.
Especially now, right? Because there's, everybody has all these little, like everybody was baking bread for a while.
Oh, sourdough was everywhere.
Yeah. There was no yeast or flour in Wegmans for weeks.
I had to order a pound online because I couldn't get it in a smaller quantity.
Yeah.
Nobody was as committed as I was.
Right. No, I remember that. Sourdough was rampant. As a recent finisher, though, of Kitchen Confidential as well, then you should relate to, I called mine, I had to feed the bitch. Ooh. I don't know if you know that line. So, Bourdain,
I have the worst memory.
Bourdain talks about his friend that's like the drunk and whatever else that went through him for a long time, and he ended up being a baker. And he had this concoction of sourdough that he had for like years and years, and he would just like grow it in the thing, and he wouldn't show up to work because he was wasted. So he would call him and be at work and be like, "Feed the bitch," basically telling him to go down and feed it yeast and sugar and all this stuff to get it going. It was like, that story stuck out in my mind when I was doing it. So was
that like Adam last name unknown or something?
Last name unknown,
like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be him. So. Right.
Wait, this is a guy that worked for him and the last name was unknown?
Yeah, they didn't know.
Throughout the whole book, he intermittently works with him at like this kitchen, that kitchen, this kitchen, and he can't, every time he goes to a new place, he's like, I can't not hire this guy. He's the best fucking baker I've ever met. Like, he's just unstoppable, but he's an unreliable drunk piece of shit, you know? Right. So he just...
Like, he'll go through his cycles. Like, he'll be really good and show up and get stuff done, and then all of a sudden it's just like MIA and calling in and like all that kind of stuff. So...
Yeah.
Which, I mean, there's a bigger story there. Maybe you see more of that, but for a different day at that point. So, with the definition, though, okay, so we have the definition, but it could be so many different things. It could be everything from, like, over-the-counter stuff, right? Like, between taking Tylenol or, like, something to care for your physical piece going on like that, right? Or you have, like the gardening or the walking or whatever that
hobbies,
that task that the hobby or a task to kind of like distract yourself, if you will, or like a routine. I was really surprised to see though that like cleaning was one of those. Like, is that like a
so
Sarah and I have this saying, and I think we've probably brought it up before.
Gotta start with the bathroom.
Yep, you got to start with the bathroom. So like, on days where you just don't want to clean your house and you don't want to do anything, but like, you know that doing something is the only way to feel better, we'll just say, you got to just start with your bathroom, because that's I don't know why we say that, dude. I just like it's dirty and it's
We always like whenever, at least whenever I clean, I always start in my bathroom. My bathroom's always the first place I start. And when you lived in Corning, I was talking about this, and you were talking about like you were having a hard time getting motivated to do something, and how like it's hard to start on something new when you feel that you're held back by something else.
Right.
So like you don't want to start a new project, you don't want to start doing something when you feel like you can't even get this done to begin with.
You're frozen.
Yeah, you're frozen because you're like, well, I'm a piece of shit because I haven't completed this task. So really, you just need to clean your bathroom. You just gotta start somewhere.
Clean the shit out.
Yeah, I think the idea of starting somewhere is kind of the message. So like that just resonates for us because I usually start with my bathroom too.
Okay.
And there's nothing like a clean bathroom. You know what I mean? It's like you sweep the floor, there's still cat hair everywhere. You know what I mean?
Get high off that bleach, just
yeah. Yeah, you fucking clean the bathroom. Sorry, I don't know if we're allowed to swear or not.
No,
but like,
I
there's
think
no
we should,
more.
Limit, but
No.
accept.
I fully accept whatever. I mean, as long as we're not like Sailor Jerrying it out there, I think we should be fine. Our normal level of talk should be good.
Okay.
Sorry.
But yeah, like you clean the mirror, that stuff is shiny. You get like all the little hair and like pee off the toilet. It's so satisfying. There's so much to be cleaned in a bathroom.
There really is.
And I think cleaning is an act of meditation, to be freaking honest. You know what I mean? Like it's the one thing where for me, and I think Sarah, and I don't know about you, Andy, but like you just get in the zone and you're present. And that's what it's about, like just getting your mind off all the things that you worry about, getting your mind off of all the things that you're trying to fix and you don't know how to fix. You're
doing something that you can fix, that you're changing, that you're making better.
Yeah.
But it seems like a distraction, like you're distracting yourself from whatever it is that you're caught in. Whatever cycle it is that you're caught in your loop that you're not getting out of, it's like, okay, well, I can put that on the back burner while I put myself, like for me, I get on autopilot, like you're saying in zone, I call it autopilot. Like I know what I'm doing. I'm not really thinking too hard about what it is that I'm doing because I know how to do it. I've done it for
routine
far too long in our lives, and we've done these early things and shit.
I think it's important to mention that our mom was a maid for several years.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to color that,
psycho.
Sure. I hope this goes on long enough that we can maybe actually get through this. And if nothing else, that we're just like, by the end of this, all the cards are on the table, you know what I mean? Like, we're square with what it is.
Yeah.
I hope maybe one day that'll help us with that. And if we help some people along the way, cool.
All the better.
Exactly. If I make you laugh, all right, even better. All right. So she was a maid. I remember a lot of that being a piece of it. So maybe that's why.
That wasn't the only thing. I know that her mom, Grandma Nancy, was kind of a mess and was not clean at all.
Right.
And I know that Mommy dealt with her own abuse, obviously, and her stepdad used to drag her out of bed, by the hair on her head at like 2 a.m. to clean the house.
Right.
So she was also trained from like a very young age to, clean.
Right. It's weird though to see that piece of it though, and now like you hear that story and then you transition into what we saw growing up, and it was like, okay, there's a slight disconnect here, and then now like I disconnect myself even from what I normally do in my routine. And then my routine has changed even within the last 6 months because I'm home all day. So it's like, all right, like get up. I make my bed now. I've made my bed every day for the last 6 months. Like it just happens on routine now at this point. I vacuum my room every single day. Like my house is vacuumed every day. My house is dusted almost every other day. Yeah. It's insane. But I've got the kids helping too and trying to get them into a routine and getting that piece going for them as well. Because it's not
Need to get me some of those.
No, you don't. Trust me. Take your time. Make sure you're ready for it. Because as great as it is, it's not just my self-care now. It's theirs as well. That's been another piece of this whole thing is having the 3 of them and trying to explain to them, okay, try and tell an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, you can't go outside. You've been playing outside with your friends this whole time and running amok and, riding your bike, and they got scooters and swimming at the pool and hanging out. And this, I live in an apartment, but it's a pretty good community worth of kids that are, decent kids and whatever. But going from that to nothing. Like you guys can't play outside like together. You can't.
Yeah, and your kids are all pretty active, so for them to go from like high energy to nothing.
Right, full throttle to like a stop, basically. So, and it's something we've tried to work on with the physical piece and like an art piece as well. Like Laura's been doing her art pieces, which is awesome. Like it gets that creative juice going, and I think art would still be considered a self-care as well, would it not?
Absolutely.
I mean, does creativity have? I guess I'm gonna point this at you, Lex, to get that mental health expert perspective of when you guys look at creativity and things like that. I mean, do you see that as a positive? How big of a positive is that?
Yeah, I mean, self-care is anything, right? I think the definition we had earlier is anything is taking action, right?
But I think his question is what is like creativity and artistic? Like, how is that viewed?
Yeah, I'm getting there, dude. Quit making me pick up the pace.
She has years of listening to podcasts. She knows what she's doing. I've seen it. I fully appreciate what she's doing.
So anyway, so it's taking action to preserve or improve. So that can be anything. You know what I mean? I think maybe the focus on, sorry, I have planes that go over my house. I don't know if you're hearing that.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, yeah.
That's all right. I can edit it out.
I had. So yeah, I mean, I think creativity is something that it does the same thing we were talking about earlier with cleaning. I think it brings you that sense of mindfulness, but not only that, you're getting the satisfaction of like I'm having a hard time explaining this, but Brennan talks about this when he like does stuff in the wood shop about how like I get to look at this and I made that with my own hands, and that's satisfaction.
Like an accomplishment, almost,
right.
if you will.
Yeah, and I think creativity, like yes, if you clean your bathroom, you can look at that and feel satisfied, but I think it just
until you use it again.
I think it just hits different when you access creativity. Maybe I don't know a lot about this. I'm trying to think, like I haven't really been doing anything creative self-care wise myself.
Those earrings?
I've seen your hibiscus lady. That's a lie.
Yeah.
That determined that was a lie.
But no, I'm thinking about like Laura's art, you know what I mean? So she comes up with the idea, she draws it, she paints it, she frames it, she does all these things. Like she created that out of nothing. It was just like,
you created those earrings?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Bugman.
Yes, that's true. Did Sarah show you that?
I have not seen that. Oh, you will have to send me after this.
We had miscellaneous clay pieces, and we were just forming them into random things because I was making those polymer clay earrings that everybody's doing right now. And I just so happened to make a circle, and then I accidentally, from the bottom of the circle, I had like poked it. So the bottom of it angled out kind of like mandibles. And so I'm like, we're fucking going with this. So I made like big bug eyes and made all these lines in its face so it looked creepy. And I was like, Sarah, you got to take this home. Like, this is for you. And she's like, yeah, what do we call it? And I was trying to be all creative, and I came up with the word Bugman.
Bugman, nice. No,
Bugman. Oh, here he is.
Oh my, there he is. Nice. Send me that for later. I will edit that into video. But see, that's okay. I had this conversation with Mike last night after you guys left, and it was I've been playing guitar for the last like 3 or 4 days, and I'm able to like read tablature and stuff, like so I can do very basic stuff and get the patterns, and it's not going to be like I can't go like play an open mic or anything, but there's that, like you were saying earlier, like those small steps of satisfaction as I like start to play something and I hear the melody, and it's like, okay, I accept that I don't have to be the best, I don't have to be an expert at this, but I enjoy it. It gives me something to focus on, to like put my energy towards.
I think there's a kind of therapy called DBT. It's dialectical behavioral therapy. And that's, they use that. It's kind of an intensive program, but it's for people who have personality disorders. So like someone who has a bipolar disorder, right? You have a chemical imbalance. Your hormones, your whatever chemicals in your brain are just flying all over the place. And same thing with depression, same thing with anxiety. Now, some of that is environmental, some of that is life circumstances, but it can be medicated and treated with therapy. But the thing about personality disorders is that it's a completely flawed way of thinking. And you might, as a byproduct, then develop anxiety, develop depression, all these other mental health conditions. But with a personality disorder, like, you have to put in work. You have to change the whole way that you think. And so this DBT program is really about radically changing the way that you think. It's almost kind of like an AA or an NA group. Like, you have to work that program and change your own life. So one of the skills that they teach is it's either an emotional, there's three sections, and one of them is emotional regulation, one of them is distress tolerance, and I can't remember which one of those two that it's in, but one of the skills is mastery. And the idea behind mastery is it's a distraction. I think it's a distraction skill. I might be getting that wrong. But mastery is about what you just said, Andy, which is, even if I suck at it, even if whatever, like, I'm learning how to play the guitar and I'm getting that satisfaction out of it. Like, mastery creates a sense of satisfaction.
A sense of self-worth and pride.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the things that go into mastery. I mean, mastery takes so long, though. I mean, it takes, what do they say, like 10,000 hours of doing something to be a master at it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I would never be a master at anything, I think, at this point in my life. I don't think I have 10,000 hours left to effectively focus on something. Well, unless it's finished one piece.
I read this really great book by, I actually had it as an audiobook. It's called Grit by Angela Duckworth. And she talks about all these people who just succeeded against all odds. And she starts the book out by saying that she got the MacArthur Genius Award. And then she very quickly clarifies, I'm not a genius. You know, like, I'm not smarter than anyone else. I'm not this, I'm not that. I just tried harder than anyone else. And she doesn't just say, like, oh, you know, grit. It's because you try hard and you put your back into it. She follows a study of West Point grads, like, who makes it and who doesn't. And spelling bee champions, who makes it and who doesn't. And all these different people who are, like, you know, pottery experts and all, you know, whoever. And she actually found a formula to predict, I think, who would graduate West Point successfully. She, like, got it down to a science based on all of her research. Okay. What she found was, it's the 10,000 hours that you're talking about. What she found was that it's people who are willing to not just enjoy, like, that, you know, you say you start playing guitar, right? And you get a little good at it and you're like, this is fun, wee-hoo, you know, right? Like, you have a very quick, what is this called? This upward angle I'm doing with my hand right now.
Incline?
A scale.
Yeah, kind of like an incline. Like, when we first start doing something, it's that you get that initial thrill, that initial, like, happiness, that satisfaction of, like, ooh, look at me, I'm learning how to do something.
Are you talking about a steep learning curve?
Yeah, eventually when you start to develop what we call mastery, it really heavily levels off. So, like, successful, like, violinists or, you know, people who are excelling in their careers, at a certain point, their gains are no longer increasing exponentially. They're really slowing down. Okay. And grit is more about, like, once you hit that peak, you just kind of start to level off a little bit, but you still keep going. Right. Right. And I think that, like, my fear and what I see, especially with the pandemic, is this idea of self-care that, like, it's been 6 months. You know, people, we've made all the bread, we've made all the earrings, we've gardened our fucking hearts out, you know, now what?
Now it's time for pumpkin spice, for cider, for cocoa. We got knitting left on the table, crocheting, needlework. I mean,
pulling them all out.
Dude, this is why we keep you around. With that just, like, you didn't even hesitate. You were like, there is some shit to do.
Snowboarding, skiing. These are very.
She's carrying us into the new year.
I know.
How long are we gonna be in this COVID?
These are socially distanced sports. You know what I'm saying? Like, 1-2 people per chairlift. Like, let's go.
Your note paper was blank before. Like, this is off the top of your head.
Nice.
And that is my self-care skill, is never fucking stop.
So with all of this, we've been slightly different. So of the two of us had to work from home, and then you're not laid off, you're furloughed, correct? Is that what's considered?
So technically, because they want us to come back to work and our jobs are still like promised to us. Like if Cuomo said that we could, open the casino tomorrow, we would all go back,
Right.
in our positions. But they are paying for our benefits. We're not paying for them at all.
Okay.
And we're still getting unemployment, which is,
It's huge.
awesome for most people, and especially because a lot of people got that extra 600, but because I only worked there for 3 months and I was in school before that, I only get 159 a week.
No damn.
So that extra 600 was like make or break, you know what I mean, for some people like me. I mean, obviously, we're not in the same position as most people, so we're
right.
we're okay, but there's a lot of people suffering for that, so
Right.
sucks. My favorite, the girl that I work with, that's like my absolute favorite, like work buddy. She had to go and find work elsewhere because she just couldn't do it anymore. So.
Oh man. That
yeah,
sucks.
that was my little Filipino friend. She's the only one that would eat spicy food with me at work.
Did she bring you lumpia?
No, I didn't even get to that level yet.
Oh, the lumpia is the best level ever.
Listen, I'm still gonna talk to her though. So.
Still fostering that friendship.
Hey, listen. When you get that lumpia, that sweet and sour chili sauce, you'll be good to go. I'm telling you, it's a whole different level.
Maybe I'll add that to my list of things to try to figure out how to make.
Okay, so here's another one that was on my topic list. It comes down to like what you're saying. We have the sourdough, we have the gardening and everything, and we have all this baking and learning stuff. Everybody's eating. I know I put on weight. I had to hit the keto. I had to lose. I've already lost 15 pounds, and I probably got another 15 to go. So I'm just saying, that's another piece of it too. Like physical activity during this time. Normally, like I get up at work and like my steps are counted on my watch, but now that I'm home, like I don't wear my watch. So I gotta like get up and like I make myself like go at lunchtime to go do a walk or something like that. What kind of stuff are you guys doing?
So I haven't been at first, like especially like at the beginning of COVID, I was really like getting into it. I wanted to be active, I don't like sitting still. I was going for, the 5-mile walks at the lake, riding my bike, like doing anything and everything I could to keep busy, like getting back out to Brendan's parents' house and, cleaning, and that's a lot of heavy lifting. And, but then the longer that, COVID has gone on and the more isolated I've become, the more, I've struggled with my depression, the less and less active, I've become. So
those are finger snaps if you can hear them.
I don't know what that means.
It's something people do it like I know it from poetry readings. Like if somebody says something really poignant or very like you're like, ooh yeah, that, you snap your fingers. Do this.
I didn't know that either. I didn't realize that's
really.
Yeah.
I think people do it at like it's like not protests, but
just
other political gatherings or something. They do it too.
Okay. Yeah, I had not heard that. But no, I get what you're saying. I guess it's hard, but the more you're into that, then I guess it is harder to motivate yourself, like we were saying earlier, to kickstart it and get that thing going. You know what I mean? Especially now, because it's like hard to set a timeline. Like, okay, I don't know when COVID's going to be over, so I can't plan. Like, all right, like you, I think you guys wanted to go on a hike. Like, if you want to go like hike a mountain, it's like, all right, well, we can't even leave the state right now, so. How do I plan for that and prep for it when I know that I'm
we have mountains in New York.
Well, yeah.
There will always be a silver lining, guys. There will always be a silver lining.
That is our optimism. I will give us that.
He says desperately.
All right. So if you're doing that, so Lex, do you have anything on your thing that like, do you set yourself up for walks or anything?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna be a little rain cloud here. I'm gonna like Sarah said something about like as my depression has been getting worse. I think like kind of the same for me, like it's difficult. We have like two kinds, and I don't mean to simplify it. I think there's probably more experiences in this, but there's people that have lost their jobs or lost hours, and there are people that are working more. And I think unfortunately, like I'm one of those people that are working more, so like all day long I sit at home. And I wake up and I get dressed and then I talk to people on the computer all day long and I hear about
their problems.
I hear about their problems. I hear about their struggles with COVID. I tell them, self-care. What are you doing for self-care? And I hate hearing myself say that because I'm like, I feel like a
What
hypocrite.
are you doing?
Yeah, because what I'm doing is, you guys are talking about gaining weight. To be honest with you, I've been chain smoking. I've lost weight. You know what I mean? I'm probably, as thin as I was when I was like 21. At 33.
wow.
Dude, show Andy your fingers. Look at how skinny her fingers are. No, from the side.
Well, they're probably bloated right now. I ate a lot of salt.
From the side, like this. Like this. Look at, there's like no fat on your like little finger pads.
She doesn't look like Skeletor or anything. She looks fine.
No.
I'm not like, I don't need to be hospitalized.
Okay.
It's fine. but yeah. So I mean, like,
I get that. It's a side effect of what's going on and how you are handling it with your self care.
Yeah.
So what does the expert in your brain tell the non-expert in your brain to be like to do at this point?
Start with your bathroom. I just and
That's
I
the
keep,
title of this episode. I don't care.
I know.
Start with your bathroom.
So, and it's hard because, Andy, you were talking to us about how you did that 30-day yoga with Andrea thing.
It's fucking
And
hard.
I went and I followed her on YouTube and I skimmed through her first video. I think it's like 35 minutes. And I haven't done yoga in a while. So like I really used to like the vinyasa flow. It was like, it's really nice, especially when you sit in an office all day, because it stretches all the right muscles, with those sun salutations, and it just feels good. So I skimmed through her video and I was like, you know what? September 1st, man. Fucking September 1st. It's a day. And I woke up September 1st yesterday and I was like, you know what? Fucking no. And I woke up late and, I didn't do it. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll do it after work. And then I worked late. And I was stressed out, and then I had to make dinner, and then I had to pick up around the house, and then all I wanted to do was eat ice cream and watch TV, and that was the last like 2 hours before I went to bed. And then I got up and I did it again this morning.
Right.
I woke up, cat litter needed to be cleaned, so I changed the cat litter, and then I smoked a couple cigarettes and I scrolled through Instagram, and none of that stuff helps, and I keep doing it, and I think maybe how they say like those who can't do teach.
I've heard that. I don't know. Not necessarily sure I agree with that, but yeah.
Yeah. So I keep thinking about that. You know what I mean? Like I keep telling people self-care and this and that, but I think sometimes we wait for that moment to say, get started. We wait for that moment that's like, aha, start with your bathroom, but it doesn't come sometimes. Like it does at times, but other times you have to force it.
You gotta kickstart it.
You gotta kickstart it. And maybe that's a good question. Like, how do you kickstart it? Which,
like,
yeah, you guys do these things. You guys tell me.
I don't know. Sarah, how do you feel about it?
So.
You're quiet.
Yeah, your mic's a little quiet.
How about now?
A little bit better.
Still quiet though.
Still quiet.
Turn it up. Bump up the volume.
Wait, is that better?
No, not at all. What's going on?
Wait. How about now?
No.
No.
Can you turn it up on your headphones?
Is the headset charged?
Yeah.
Okay.
How about are we good?
No.
No, very
Hold
bad.
on. Let me see if I can bump up your audio in this. Yeah, like I can tell when you get closer to your mouth. Yeah, we can tell.
Just like put the microphone inside of your teeth.
I can hear that.
Is this better? That's
That's
like
actually
basically.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically on my mouth.
That's as close. Yeah, I mean, it sounds better.
So basically, what I've been doing, and I consider myself as like a generally like optimistic, like happy person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I definitely struggle with depression and anxiety, but like for the most part, I try to have like a positive outlook on things. And I think that like making the effort and just forcing yourself to constantly like make that effort, because I'd say like.
Oh shit. Nope.
So back to what I was saying.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So let's continue back with you. Go.
So go now. Action. So I generally try to have like a pretty sunny. I don't try to, but I just do have a generally like optimistic and sunny disposition. But like that's one half of it. The other half is that there is that the light and the dark side. The depression and whatever. And what I found is like you just constantly have to make an effort. Like it is hard work to be happy. Like that is a tough gig.
Right.
And I just always make an effort. Like I see something that is pretty, like I take a moment in my head to like appreciate that the sky is really blue today, that my favorite flowers are in bloom, that the way the sunlight's coming through trees, like that I've got some tasty AF banana bread, like just that I feel comfortable, or that you're just taking a moment to like appreciate like the people that you have relationships with, people that you care about, like, and forcing it all
Right.
the time. Like
Mike was talking about something like this where he said he had a list that was like near his phone or his door when he was leaving, and it was like his appreciation list. Shit he was like, appreciated or was grateful for, like whatever it might be every day, to kind of like, so you can see it, and you can like you realize there is something there. It's not just like a mental
the
list.
bottom.
Yeah, a mental list, like you can push it away, and you can like compartmentalize and make it nothing. Whereas if it's a list and it's physically out there, it's like you have to see it, and the good that it does.
It sounds like gratitude, like practicing gratitude, which is the
Right.
thing that's like, I don't want to use the word pervasive, but like, yeah, like very common across like different therapies or like sobriety groups or like,
Okay.
meditation or whatever. Like the idea of gratitude is present in all of those. And I guess I didn't think of that.
Okay. That's
And being like intentional with it, and being forceful with it,
right.
and making a conscious effort to like, yeah, everything sucks, I'm in a shit stank mood, but look at how cute that cat is.
Appreciate the little things along the way. You know what I mean? I
That
get that.
equals self-care.
See, my biggest one, I think, for this whole time though, for me, has been routine. Like I've been able to get into a routine that's around the same time almost every day, that I know what I'm accounting for. Like I know what needs to be done. Uh, I pick up my house around the same time. We have dinner around the same time. Like I work the same schedule. It's a little different today. Like kids started school today, so it's slightly different and chaotic, but it brings them back into a routine as well. But I'm trying to break my routine and add in things like this, like Tuesdays. Tuesdays were the first edition of like, here's something new. It's routine and it's awesome. You know what I mean? Tuesdays have been for me a great connection, I guess, because I was out for a long time, and now it's like, all right, I'm trying to learn more. I'm trying to be better in that aspect, but it's also like that routine. Okay, we're there every Tuesday. Yeah, I haven't done anything since last Tuesday other than kids' school started. I haven't done shit all. You know what I mean? But okay, we're hanging out on Tuesday. I get to see you guys' faces and hang out and bullshit like that. You know?
See what everybody else is
Right.
doing.
And I guess for me, like that was a nice. I guess I don't know if you would consider that self care, but for me, it's like, all right, it's a connection and hanging out with people that I care about and want to know more about, even though all the shit's going on in the world. Like I can still do
Well, if it's an action that preserves or improves your health, it
keep
is
coming
self-care.
back to it.
So also just to continue to nerd out, so like you said something about like your routine. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a super huge part of it. I think that's where I've been failing a little bit. I wake up, I smoke I
Same.
smoke like 3 cigarettes, I sit on the fucking porch and drink and I don't do shit. And then I'm like, oh God, I gotta get ready for work, and then I rush around, and that's how I start my day. So
Okay.
also to nerd out, I read this another audiobook, pop psychology book, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg.
Okay.
So he also did a study where he looked at Target advertising, he looked at Rosa Parks,
Mm-hmm.
he looked at Starbucks, and then he looked at like some company that was failing hideously and they completely turned it around. And what he found was that like each time the success of all of those things, the Rosa Parks and the bus boycotts and all that, he found that it was habit that fueled those things. And so like for example with Rosa Parks, he says that she was already a powerful community figure.
Mm-hmm.
She had a lot of friends. She was the kind of person who, like in church, everybody knew her, wanted to talk to her. She had a wide range of people that supported her and believed in her. So like for her social interactions, it was a habit for people to and I'm gonna mess this up a little bit, but like it was a habit to be interacting with her. It was a
Right.
habit to be like part of her life. And it was, her habit to not back down. And so that was really that interconnectedness sort of like fueled the success of that movement. And there was a whole thing about Target ads. So with the Target ads, it was that like some girl who was like 16 or 17, her dad got these ads in the mail for like babies and all this other stuff. He flipped out, called Target. What the hell is this? My daughter's like, such and such teenage years old. Turns out his daughter was pregnant and hadn't even told anyone yet. And they're like, how the hell does Target know that this 16-year-old girl is pregnant?
On the pregnancy test there.
Through the power of habit. Yeah, so they followed her shopping habits. So if you start buying like chocolate and frickin' like, heating pads and stuff like that, next week Target's going to send you a mailer for like, and I feel like they can predict your behavior based on your habits. So the idea behind the power of habit is that we have a cue to complete our habits, a routine that we complete within the habit, and then a reward, right? And so to figure out your own habit loop is to then be able to change it. So you got to identify the routine, what cues that routine, Andy. So like you get up out of bed,
right?
That's cue to then make your bed, right?
Right.
Your reward is that feeling of satisfaction or like you get
accomplishment,
whatever, right? So you're now primed to do that again.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean? And so just, sorry, I just had to nerd out real quick, but like the idea of habit, I think, is super important when it comes to self-care, because if you don't make it a habit, shitty habits are going to take over.
Right. Well, the hardest part is getting into that initial one anyway, though. That's the hard part, is kick-starting those first couple days and like sticking it out.
Start with the bathroom.
Start with the bathroom, man. See, every time we're coming back to it.
I've definitely struggled with my routine lately. It's hard. Like, Brennan doesn't work, I don't work. Like, we don't have anything that's like, set. Nothing that's like in stone that's holding us down or grounding us. And I've always been a night owl. I've always been a night person, so it's hard for me to. I've always physically like been a night person, but I always feel better about being a day morning person. So it's like
See, I flipped the switch.
Worst.
I remember being a night person for so long, and it's only within the last like 5 years that like I am a morning person now. I don't mind staying up late, but like 5:30 and I'm up. Like my body's already awake at that point and says, "Hey." But my normal work hours are 6:30 to 3. So
No.
Okay, so normally I have to be up no later than 5:30 to even physically get myself to work. And if I work overtime, I have to be there at 5. So I'm up at like 4:15. And I can do it. Like my body is acclimated to it now. But I mean, I used to be the same way. I'd be up all night, 3 or 4 in the morning. All right, I'm going to bed. And Laura's the same way right now. I catch the light going off at like 2 or 3 in the morning. We have a camera inside of our living room. And you can see her door, and like the light goes off at like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm like, man. And she's up in there painting and not doing anything crazy, so I'm not worried about it. But it's weird to see that cycle flip for me just because of age. So.
Well, age and life and habits.
Habits, right? See, what was the other
Bring
one?
it
I was surprised.
around.
The CDC had some stuff on self-care. They had it as a. Let's see. It was the whole mental health aspect of it, and like the different. I'll put it up on my video so that I can see it on there. But it was, numbers for mental health, disaster, distress lines, natural suicides, domestic abuse. All these things that have
Domestic abuse has been huge.
Right. I mean, well, everybody's been shoved indoors, and it's just like escalated to an unfathomable level. You know what I mean?
You could go and get away and escape before, and now there's nowhere to go.
Right. And then, I mean, you're shoved into a house with somebody for so long, and maybe you start to see things you didn't see before. There's just so many different scenarios that could take over from that. But I was really happy to see, like, the CDC had these things available, and we're trying to talk about it. It's like, okay, like,
Resources.
don't just let it go by the way. Actually make sure you're taking care of yourself. Doing the things in protection, I guess, is also part of that self-care as well.
It's probably also a testament to like the times, you know what I mean? Like mental health has become like people are more aware of it. It's more,
it's
talked
less stigma
about.
to talk about it.
Yeah,
It
it's not
seems as
taboo.
much. But I guess it's different for us because it's never been taboo for like the three of us. I've always just kind of thrown it out there, and that's I mean, a
Here's
long
my
topic.
bullshit.
Exactly. It's a long topic for another day, but we've always had it as like an armor or as a sword to be able to like, oh yeah, that shit's crazy. All right, well no, fucked up. This is crazy, and then it's just like, ha, 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 ha. You know what I mean?
It's always you always have like that, well, I mean, you two I think are a little bit better about like hiding your crazy than I am. You know what I mean? Like I'm more worried. I feel like you can be like proper people, you know what I mean? And like connect to people on that level. And then, you in your back pocket you have that like Pandora's box of fuckery.
But like, I think you think we're out here like being normal.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I wouldn't say my relationships with friends and other people are what you probably think they are.
No.
It's
No, I don't mean with people that know you. People that know you obviously know, like, they fucking know.
Right.
But like I'm saying, like you walk up to somebody on the street and you meet somebody somewhere, like I feel like you can play the game. You know what I mean? You have those skills.
Yeah, but you're the one who could make friends with a doorknob. Think about that for a second.
Yeah, oh yeah. That's my crazy on my sleeve.
I don't do that. I think you can mix well with like strangers or have like very best friends. I can hold acquaintances. You know what I mean? Like, but again,
I don't know.
that's
That's one of those things that takes a lifetime to figure it out, though. Of like how long you hold an acquaintance or something else. You know what I mean?
Oh God, where me and Lexi were walking down the street, and like I everybody I see, I smile, wave. I don't know anybody, and Lexi's like, nobody ever like says hi to me. Like, it's just weird. But everybody's I'm like, hi.
Smile at Sarah and say hi to her. I'm like, do you know that person? She's like, no, I have no idea who they are. I'm like, why are they saying hi to you? She's like, because I smiled at them. I'm like, that never happens to me. It's like you have a resting bitch face. That's why. But I think that brings up something else too. That like, I think friends, and you said something about like us doing this weekly, like Taco Tuesdays and everything. I think that is super important. That is self-care. Like, I haven't seen most of my friends like almost at all. I went twice this week. I went and I saw my friend Lauren. I went over to her house and we just had a glass of wine and complained. And then I went with my friend Lisa to go like just try on wedding dresses and I can't explain to you how much of a difference that made to walk out of my house and to be in someone else's house. And like, it wasn't even like, like nothing special.
You're like a badass.
No, like my social skills are trash at this point. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like it was any wonderful, like super bonding moment. It was just being around my friends and being a normal person. And it just like, it made my day. Right. It completely changed my mood. Like I felt so different. It was insane. Like, and you don't realize how much you miss things like that until you get real close to it. And it was almost like painful. Like it just like how different it felt. Like it's like I don't want to sound lame, but like a longing. You know?
No, I get it.
What are you, a pig?
Yeah.
Wonderfuls.
That's a Bill Burr reference.
I get it. No, I get that, but I mean, even in the digital age, like we have been doing this electronically, like we are now, and even then, like people that my friends here in San Diego, I've only seen them digitally as well, like hanging out on streams or doing other stuff. Like I haven't actually gone and like hung out with somebody at this point.
So can I take this like to a weird level?
Yep.
How weird.
So like, I mean, like everybody always talks about like, people let off like pheromones and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And like, not to be weird, but like maybe that's part of like what's missing, like the smell of other people or like, the warmth or their pheromones. You know what I mean? Or, like that
animal
specific
side.
Perfume. Yeah, like maybe they smell a certain way and like, what is it? Like smell is one of the like most like powerful portions of like your memory. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe that's a part of it.
No, it's science.
It's science.
So if you said sorry, I cut you off to talk about pheromones. You were talking about your friends.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying that like I haven't even gone to see them yet. I'm not we're still not ready for that. San Diego is just now getting into like we've let gyms open again at like super low capacity, and I think
We're not even there.
Restaurants are starting to come back in like low, like I think half capacity. They're all to do indoors now, and they've been out in the parking lots this whole time, and I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to go eat that bad. Like they have a tent set up in the parking lot. It was 97 degrees last week. Like I'm not going down to friggin' the IHOP to go get a stack of pancakes and sit in the fucking parking lot.
And get attacked by bees.
You know what I mean? Like, there's not on my list of things to do. But like 2 weeks ago, it's 2 weeks ago, but 2 or 3 weeks ago, we went to Carlsbad to go. Me and Holly had our anniversary, so like we got food to go. Like the bar was open, so we had our mask on, and most people walking around did. But as soon as you sat at the table, it was off. So we just ordered it to go and kind of picked it up and went down to the beach. Nobody down there. Plenty of social distancing and all that kind of good stuff, but just to see it, just to even be out in that that situation where there's more people than the 4 people I'm used to seeing every day, like I felt
a sense of peace,
right? Like it would, like even that kind of like overthrew me a little bit, and I guess I brought a little bit of anxiety into that piece, and I was like, oh, okay, so what can I do to get out of this and like make myself feel better? And I couldn't think of anything at the time. So I mean, we eventually got our stuff and left, and that was fine. But I couldn't think of like any like a self-care tip or like I guess something to help coax myself into that. You know what I mean? Or relieve that anxiety.
Did you guys ever? You're both talking about yoga. Did you ever do any of like, not to be like a total fag, but did you guys do any of the breathing exercises?
I do like meditation and stuff when I'm home, but not while I'm out.
The like just like being mindful in that moment and being like taking that second for yourself, and just like the lady that I had for a yoga instructor, she made you do this breath that was like being mindful, like in through your nose, feel your chest, feel your belly, like slow deep breaths out slowly through your mouth, and like just taking that moment to like be and exist and like not fight or flight and panic can sometimes be helpful in those situations.
True.
Yeah, like a lot of like yoga classes, they'll like talk to you about your breathing throughout. Like they're always kind of like very calmly narrating what you should be doing.
Right.
And they'll talk about your breathing as you're doing this position. And that's like very much like part of it. And I think you're right, dude. Like I always enjoy that part, and I like when they talk about that. I think my favorite thing, and I always forget this, but they'll tell you to like relax your jaw, drop your tongue, and like make sure your shoulders aren't hunched over or something like that. Like push your shoulders back, drop your tongue, relax your jaw. And I'm like, damn, I'm doing that all day long,
The hunchback and Notre Lex.
Yeah. Yeah,
and we all get there. The computer, like I get into it, like I'm just like leaned over the keyboard, like I have this nice expensive chair. It's supposed to sit me up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I have to be the one that sits up, and it doesn't do all the work for me. Shit.
Listen, I'm all for you having a hunchback because like it'll make it easier to hug you.
If you're like bent over, we can.
Silver lining.
I figured we'd have robot boots by the time we got to the future, and you'd just be walking around on those.
Yeah, mech suits.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm 1000% for the mech suit.
All for it. All for it.
I think the breathing stuff though, I think it's also about like I think it combines like a few things. It combines you doing something for yourself. Obviously, like more oxygen, like physiologically, is going to make you feel better. But I also think that it's like a wicked like distraction. I think it pulls you out of your head, like out of your own head, and focus, like gives you a focus that's not like a runaway train of like anxiety and you're dying.
So I mean, self-distraction is a big, I guess, self-care, I would assume. And it gives way to, I guess, to open that up for other things, or just not even think about anything, I guess, if you're trying to release anxiety and kind of let everything go, or...
I think there's a fine line, though, because you don't want to take that too far. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you need a distraction, but it's not like...
Not trying to shoot heroin.
Yeah. So I talk about, like, how I have, like, this bookcase, you know, in my head, and I, you know, pack things in there and tuck them away and, like, you know, don't want to look at them or unpack things. Like,
right.
You know, that's the opposite end of that. That's the other
Compartmentalization.
that's the other extreme of distraction. So realizing what's truly self-care and what's, you're allowing yourself to go deeper into that hole.
Would that be like self-care versus like self-preservation? I mean, an aspect, or is that too far? Yeah, nah. If she's compartmentalizing like that, if it is self-preservation versus self-care, can they not be the same thing in certain moments? But I mean, there has to be I guess a point where they break off.
So if it's an action that's to preserve, yeah,
Like
I don't understand
Smuckers,
why.
I mean, full definition of it.
Yeah, I think like self care can be also Xing things out or
Okay.
preventing things from like setting a boundary or like not allowing certain things. Absolutely,
Okay.
as long
Cool,
as it's
cool,
an
cool, cool.
action. I think self care could be like blocking somebody on Instagram, 100%.
Dude, yes.
Yeah.
Instagram is the devil. It's the devil, Ricky Bobby.
I deleted it for like 6 months last year, and I gotta tell you, I did great. It was nice.
It's Facebook for me. Facebook is
Really.
just
I've
trash.
let Facebook go. Like, here's high school person that's just like shitbird now. Shit hippies. Shit hippies is another one. I'm putting shit hippies on the list while I think about it. Shit hippies. Uh, but it's like that. Then it's just like you see shit from like your town you went to high school with, and it's just like, fuck these people. Like the one thing that connected us
Brag.
was like a building for 4 years that I maybe saw you for and whatever else. Like I don't need that shit in my life. We're about wrapping it up here, I think, here shortly.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything else that you really want to put out on the table and discuss?
No?
All right. I love both of you. This has been great.
Love you too.
What do you guys feel about self-sorry or shit hippies as the next topic?
I'm digging shit hippies.
Yeah, what's a shit hippie again?
A shit hippie is just knowing that there are shit people no matter what we do. And a shit hippie is the best example because it's just a person that is tie-dyed and Grateful Dead and whatever else hippies, but they're still a shit person.
Honestly, like, this really ties into self-care for me, so I think that's right.
Oh God, I don't have like any specific examples or evidence. It's just gonna be all like blatant, like
Dude, it's because you have resting bitch face. People don't shit on you like they shit on us golden retriever faces.
no, dude, it fucking happens. It does. People think they're like, oh, she's quiet or she has like a bitch look on her face. I have an excuse to be an asshole to her. Like I'm valid in being an asshole to her because she looks like she's fucking deserves it.
Do you have names and addresses of any of these people?
Their name is Karen.
And Karen and Karen and Karen.